Yeah, welcome, Scholion. Welcome. You all right?
Hello.
I'm going to run through some questions. So here we go. Where are you from, Scholion?
So, yeah, originally, well, I was born in Paignton, Devon, so a nice seaside town. But in my early childhood, I moved to Bridgewater, and I now live in Nunny near Frome, Somerset. Somerset, my love.
Do you think your surroundings have shaped you in a creative sense? And in what ways do you think, your surroundings where you grew up and stuff?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I live in the country, and it has inspired a few songs. So, Another World, which is an acoustic guitar song, was inspired by myself walking through the countryside and just enjoying the countryside and having that moment of peace and tranquility and being on my own, really, in contemplation. So that's kind of about thinking about my life in the countryside, using that as a canvas, if you like, to I don't know, think. To think. Yeah, so definitely I love the countryside, I love animals. Yeah.
When did you start doing the music, and how did you get started in the music sort of career path?
Right, well, I'll try and give you the short version. So basically, when I was at school, I dabbled with a few instruments, and I did play second violin in the Frome Youth Orchestra years ago. I wasn't very good, by the way. And then I bought my first guitar when I was 19, and I bought an electric acoustic guitar, and I wrote my first song that year. And I don't know if if you play guitar, you've probably seen the Complete Guitar series. So back then you could buy 4 books that sort of took you through step by step how to do chords and arpeggio and strumming rhythms, and that's where I started, really. So once I'd learned a few sort of Bob Dylan songs, but they were kind of simplified for learning, I thought, yeah, I can do this. So I wrote my first song on the guitar the same year when I was 19, and I think I called it like a protest song. I called it something like the Black Box, Black Suitcase, that was it, because like the tax man has this black suitcase and he does the budget all through that. So it was a sort of protest song about tax and the tax man and that sort of thing. So anti-authoritarian at that time.
Tell me about your involvement with All 161 Productionz. That's Big Dee and the crew.
Yes.
When did you get involved with them? When did they come into the picture? When did it start?
Well, I was going, actually, funny you should say, I was going on one of my country walks, and then I got a phone call from Big Dee, I should call you Big Dee. So I got a phone call from Big Dee, and I think you'd sort of you must have come across my website for my film production company, didn't you, Big Dee? And we were talking about your script, actually, which is very exciting. We'll talk more about that later. So we got talking, and Big Dee says, look, I've written this script. It's based on my life. It's an autobiography. Would you be interested in getting involved? And I said, well, send me the script. Sounds really interesting. But I did warn him that I am a very small production company. I don't have a lot of money, so it would be very sort of, a sort of DIY thing. And I said, oh, by the way, and then, yeah, no, that was it. And I found out, I think I read an article that had been written about you. And I think I read that you were a rapper. And then I said, oh, by the way, do you fancy, I've written this song, I've been looking for a rapper for a long time. Do you fancy rapping to my song One? He said, oh, yeah, I'll give it a go, kind of thing. Not in those exact ways and words, but in Big Dee's way. I'm not very good at doing impressions, I have to say. And so he came up with this amazing rap, and he absolutely hit the nail on the head. He did exactly what I wanted, And we'd only sort of talked briefly about I sort of talked about the concept, and that, you know, each line of the lyric, or the first letter of each line of the lyric spells out one species, and that was really the whole concept, that we're all one people, really. And I sort of said, you know, kind of, you know, do it your way, and he got it. He clicked with it. So I was so impressed. And yeah, and Big Dee recorded it, and I integrated it into the mix, and voila.
Sounds really good, by the way. Just say it out again. All right, then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, who have you sang for? Who would you like to sing for, perform for?
I've sung for George Anthony Ra, and it was a song called Streets, and he sent me it was a kind of trance track. He sent me the track, and he said, you know, whatever you want to do, just put a sort of local vocal line on this and see what you come up with. So I can send you the link to that. I feature very, very, very lightly. In fact, when I played it back, when he did the final mix, and I played it back, and I thought, I can't hear my voice at all. Complete. But what was great about that, I created a whole song out of that, inspired by his mix, really, his mix. I've also sung, so my early bands, one of them was called Bloodsucking Daisies, and then I was in a band with my partner Shane Fry, who's a brilliant bass player. He's a brilliant all-round guitarist, actually. So he plays you know, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass. Bass was, you know, his role in most of the bands that he's played in. And he played bass in Trapdoor Spiders. We were called Trapdoor Spiders back then. He's still with a group that in the village he goes to meet them, and they sort of do their thing, mainly covers, but he has done some original work. So I've played with him. And who would I like to sing for? Well, I'm open to offers, people. Contact me. Who would I like to sing for? Anybody who thinks I'm good enough to do something with, really.
Yeah. Where does your influences come from?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's okay. So when I was learning to play guitar, I listened to Suzanne Vega, because a lot of the songs that I learned from, they were kind of folk based. So I really liked Suzanne Vega. Loved Tracy Chapman, who I believe was also influenced by Joan Armatrading. And you know, Fast Car, so Tracy Chapman's Fast Car really, really hit home. And I loved those lyrics where they were talking about life, but the gritty side of life. And my all-time favorite band is Pearl Jam, which not many people have, you know, when you say Pearl Jam, you go, who's, but you might have heard of Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, or the song Jeremy. And finally, recently I was listening to Patty Griffin, and her song As Cold as It Gets. It's again folk based kind of song, but really hard hitting. So it's about this sort of abusive man, really, in her life. Brilliant, really hit home with me. So amazing, really, really good. I loved it. So yes, those are my influences really.
Do you have anyone you consider as your mentor? How has their help or advice shaped you?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you learn if you collaborate. You learn from every musician that you have contact with. I have to say, Shane and I, my partner Shane, we played a lot together when we were courting. That's such an old-fashioned word, isn't it? When we were courting, we used to play guitar together, and he taught me a lot actually. So I've learned a lot from him as a guitar mentor. He's probably been my guitar mentor as a pianist, and I haven't played proper piano for quite a long time now. But I want to shout out to Tonya Drummond, who is a piano teacher. She's amazing. She's such a lovely lady. She does exhibitions now. She's got artistic work that she's an artist now, but brilliant pianist as well, and a great piano teacher. So she was a huge influence, mainly because she was so lovely. She wasn't one of those horrible, strict, nasty piano teachers. She was really nice about it, and because I was a mature student, that helped. We were friends. We had a friendship quite early on in our sort of sessions really. So yeah, those big two people in my life.
Oh God. How does your creative process differ when creating lyrics versus making? Do you make tracks or do you just perform?
Yeah, no, I make tracks. I make tracks.
That's how we say it. Yeah, we make tracks and that. But yeah, does the creative process differ when writing lyrics compared to making music? You know, like making instrumentals, I guess.
Yeah, it's for me. Normally, it's interesting how the instrument you choose can influence your process. So when I do a guitar-based song, I basically poodle with the guitar and maybe put a riff together and a combination of chords and arpeggios, and then I'll keep repeating it over and over again. And then how you listen to music and you think, okay, how does this make me feel? What does it make me imagine? And then suddenly you kind of start writing. Sometimes, so really for me, when I play guitar, the guitar music comes first and then I add the lyric. But one was different. Sometimes I come up with lyrics and then you think about, what am I trying to say? And then how does the music sit with that message? So is it dark, and how do I make it sound dark? Or is it powerful? How do I make it sound powerful? And you can use, using different instrumentation can create that whole vibe. So and one was one of those songs where the lyrics, unusually for me, the lyrics came first and the music came after. Normally I work the other way around, but for me, I suppose the inspiration was the message I was trying to convey, about us all being one, and in unity as a species, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, good track. How long have you been performing now as Scholion? How long have you been performing? Yeah.
Oh gosh. I came to performance really quite late because, being a mum of 3 kids, that became priority, and my children are grown up now; they're all adults. So I didn't get a lot of chance to perform, and actually, it's only I say recently, in the last 10 years, I've become quite a confident person, very, very shy performer. So probably I was 30 odd before I did my first public performance as a blood-sucking daisy. Imagine that. So I came to it late, but I always, either performed as an actor or a musician. I came to it late, really.
Okay. Is he one experience in life that without it you wouldn't be the artist you are today?
Oh, that one experience.
Yeah.
Oh, there are so many. There are so many.
Oh yeah, right.
I suppose, I think any musician, any artist is made up of their life story, first and foremost, and then they have a sudden connection with an artist they maybe have seen or they've watched on stage, or something that hit home. I think I go back to Pearl Jam, because Pearl Jam, right, I'm a bit of a rock chick, so Pearl Jam's a rock band, and they write such truthful lyrics about life, and quite hard hitting. It's not fluffy, it's not fairy tale, it's not all about love, because life isn't all about that sometimes. And I really connected with that, and I thought, I want to write like that. That's what I want to write like. Something that gives this resounding message. It's filled with hurt and pain, but ultimately love and inspiration and strength and power. So I've gone off on a tangent. What was the question? What was the original question?
Just the one experience. Like you said there was multiple experiences.
The one experience.
You wouldn't be
the one experience. I think when I was in middle school, I heard this violin music playing in the music hut at school, and I cried. Probably for the first time, I cried over a piece of music because it was so beautiful. And that ability to move people, either by sound or by word, has always stuck with me. So if I can move people by sounds or by words, I feel like I've achieved something.
Cool. Your top 3 artists of all time, Scholion.
Oh, stop it. Okay. This is a hard one, because I'm a bit of an old girl, right? I'm going to say David Bowie.
Oh yeah, I like David Bowie.
And I love, so David Bowie, Kate Bush, and Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. Obviously.
What haven't you attempted yet that you hope to? Is anything in particular you haven't attempted yet?
Music wise. Well, I did a song a few years ago called Corner Shop, which was about the drug scene, and I did a bit of a kind of a rap to that. I don't think I'm not in the caliber of rappers as Big Dee is, but I don't know, what else could I attempt? Maybe rapping, but get it right this time. But I'd have to put on, I feel like I'd have to put on an accent to because me rapping posh like this it's not gonna gel with people, really, is it?
People do it though, don't they? Yeah. The accent, don't they? It's English accent. All right, am I going back onto you, the first song you ever made? Ask you a question about that. Tell me about your first song you ever made. Was it a success, failure, your opinion? You remember talking about?
Okay, well, in terms of commercial success, probably not. But I think for me, I don't measure success as a musician or a songwriter as commercial success. I think if you have one person that understands and connects with the song that you've created, that's success. That's success. And I always say to people, it doesn't matter if you have an audience member of 1 or 1 million. If you connect with another person and they understand what you're trying to say, and you're conveying a message that really is provocative or they take comfort from it, or whatever, or they feel that they're not alone in some way, that's successful. Because for me, art is about connectivity more than, you know, the old dosharoo. I mean, that's great if you get successful in terms of monetary success, great, but I think if you rely on that as a measure of your success, then I think you're leaving yourself shortchanged, excuse the pun, and disillusioned, because it's not about that. It's about connecting with people and sending a message, I think, for me anyway. And the first song, it's called something like Black Box or something, the Black Box.
Okay.
Black Suitcase.
Okay. We'll move on then, I guess. Okay, tell us this. Can you tell us the story behind your song One? I think we've digged into it a little bit, but if you can, you know, like going over it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, One, I think it probably was inspired by how we were feeling in the lockdown. We all felt isolated, and also all the troubles that go on, all the warring that goes on, all the prejudices that go on, and I'm saying, what I'm trying to say through the song is, look, we are one species. That's the most important thing. We live on a planet that, quite frankly, as a species and other species, they're endangered. So we've got to work together, and that's the whole concept of one. We are one species, so we should be united in unity. And I think it you know, it came in a period where we talk about, you know, Black Lives Matter and that sort of thing, but also the other inequalities that go on in the world through you know, politics or deprivation. So that's the message I wanted to convey, that we are all one. We should all be looking after each other, really.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to accomplish this year? Anything?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to be cast in a major feature film, thank you very much, as lead actress. and actually Big Dee and I were talking about this, because we were talking about, oh no, that's probably going to be your next question, what's next, but actually Big Dee and I have a love of the Lost Boys vampire. I said, oh, I've got a vampire song, because I was talking about what we're going to do next. I said we need to do more. So I've got this song called Cold Outside, and it was originally called The Vampire Song. And then we got talking about the film The Lost Boys, which we both love. And I thought, yeah, we've got to do that. And I said, there is a rap that I've put on this, but I think you probably do a better job of what I've done. So I think that will be what's next. And in terms of, you know, what would I still like to achieve? Probably just a lot more songwriting, a lot more kind of like dance and trance tracks, because I've come from my history has been very much sort of folk, traditional guitar kind of play, well, you know, traditional guitar playing and piano playing. I'd like to really kind of get into the dance and trance music scene and experiment more with you know, synth work and sampling and packing it all together. It's fun.
This last question now, then, Scholion. Is there anything you'd like your supporters to know about, anything about you, your supporters?
Yeah, I would actually. So I come from, I know I don't sound like I come from humble backgrounds, but I do come from very, very humble backgrounds. I come from, you know, what would be termed a subclass of society. My mother suffered horrendously for years with severe mental illness, and it had an effect, huge effect on our childhood. I come from a very lowly class background, very poor, you know, all kinds of things. went on. And I think, you know, I went for a period in my history as a child being sort of homeless for one period. But I think my message is, don't ever give up hope on yourself. Always believe in yourself. You have the power to take control of your life and change things for the better. And you can be a better person than what's gone before. You can be better than that. So don't ever feel that, you know, if you've inherited a very dark, negative legacy, that you are stuck with that it becomes a curse. You can fight your way out of poverty. You can fight your way out of abuse, anything. It just keep the faith, stay strong, believe in yourself, and things will change. If you look after yourself, things will change. That's I suppose I know that sounds a bit idealistic, but it's happened to me, and I've come out the other side. So yeah.
Yeah, real talk.